brings you in today?
Well, I just found out that my grandma, who's 95, my great grandma, is in the hospital.
No. How is she doing?
I don't really know. I live 3 hours away, and I just found out last night. I mean, she's old and she has Alzheimer's, so it's coming, but it's just really hard being down here and not being able to go see her.
Do you feel like seeing her would help you?
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't know who I am, but it would work for me, I guess. I don't know. It's just if she passes away and I don't get to see her and at least like say my final goodbyes, even though she wouldn't know, I would.
Right.
So
So how do you feel about that? Are you feeling like it's taking a toll on you, or
I mean, I would say yeah. I just it's hard because it's so close to the holidays,
yeah?
and I know that my grandpa, who is her son, is probably not doing so great with it, and I don't really want to call and ask him because I know it'll just upset him.
Right.
But I don't know. I'm just hoping like either she gets out of the hospital. I'm going home this weekend, so I'm hoping she gets out of the hospital, or like she'll be still alive by the time I get home.
When you go home, do you plan on going straight to see her, or are you gonna try to go with family?
I think my grandpa will probably be there, and then my grandma as well. I don't want to go up there by myself. I feel like it would be too hard. So I think I'll just get home and then see what they're doing, and if they're both up there, I'm just gonna go straight to the hospital.
Yeah, I would suggest going with somebody. That way you have somebody to lean on just in case.
Yeah, I think so.
So, do you feel like you can handle the situation, or do you feel like if it were to come to terms, or do you feel like you're going to need some time to let it out?
I mean, we've kind of known. Like I said, she was 95. She is 95, and she's been in assisted living for a couple of years now. And for the past year and a half, she hasn't remembered who I was. But I mean, she always knew who my grandpa was. But within like the last couple months, she doesn't even remember him. So I know that there's different stages with Alzheimer's, and once it gets to the end, they stop their hygiene, which she isn't doing. I guess she has a bacterial infection, and it's in her bloodstream now. So I think it's probably from her bad hygiene, and I know that she doesn't know who he is, and she doesn't even remember anything. Like, she doesn't have good days anymore. She's just always confused. So I think I'll be able to handle it in the sense that like she's finally like with my great grandpa. He's been gone for about 7 years, and she doesn't have to. I know she doesn't know what's going on, so I can't even. I don't know. I don't know if she is in pain. I don't know. I don't know anything, and I think that once she is gone, it'll be like that piece of being able to remember my great grandma before.
Right. I know sometimes people like to not see them or see your great grandma in pain or anything like that. Do you think that that's anything that you could handle, or do you think that you would have to see her?
Like when my dad's grandma passed away, so that other great grandma, I had to see her. Like, she was in the hospital for a couple days. We knew it was coming, but I don't think I ever would have been able to get over it had I not been there. But it was a little bit easier with her because she knew who I was. It obviously wasn't easy that she passed away, but it was her body that failed her, and now it's like swapped. Like my great grandma now, her body is, except for the infection, but that's caused from her mind. So I don't know. It's just like the closure of knowing that I got to like see her and hold her hand one last time, and see at least, because like I said, I'm not going to go by myself. So being able to see my grandpa with her one last time, because my great grandpa were a big part of my life growing up, and my brothers, and we would always go over there, and they took us to this little playground called Florida Play Fort, and so I just want to like go back and try to remember all of that, even though it was 10 or 11 years ago. I still want to remember that.
I hear that you're becoming very strong with it. I know that it's not an easy topic, and that it's not easy to lose somebody, but I feel like you talking about it and you saying, you come to terms with it. She's lived a great life. You have a lot of memories with her. I hope that you can cherish those and know that, one day it'll all be better.
Yeah.
You can heal from it. And so you said your grandpa is the one taking care of them. I'm assuming that's her son?
Yeah.
Okay.
So my great-grandparents had 3 children. There was my grandpa, who is the oldest, then my Aunt Donna, and then my Uncle Carl. And my Aunt Donna lives in Illinois, and my Uncle Carl lives in Texas. So Illinois from my house is about an hour and a half, at least where she lives. And the last time she was up to see my great-grandma, her mother, was probably back in June. And when my grandpa called and told her what was going on, she was just very, well, it's the holidays, and, Karen, who's her daughter, is coming up from Florida to see her for a couple days, and she's like, I wasn't planning on coming out to see Mom, and my cousin Karen, she just had a baby. He's probably about 7 months old, and I don't know, I just feel like they should make the effort, especially, she could pass away tomorrow, but I think they should make the effort to at least come out and see her, because, we don't know how much time we have left, and especially, not even then, I think they should be here now to see her, at least my aunt, my great aunt, and then my uncle wanted to know, how the infection happened, and just sounded like he was actually blaming my grandfather for it, and I don't feel like the blame should be put on anybody, because she's, again, 95, and she's living in assisted living, so it's not even like my grandpa's, actually there taking care of her.
So I see that you're, kind of a little bit frustrated maybe with your aunt and uncle with the situation. I see that, you're probably closer with your grandpa because he's closer and you get to see him more. Your other grandma, sorry. So is that, affecting him at all with your relationship with them? Because he knows that you're frustrated with his siblings? Or
I feel like it's kind of like everybody's frustrated with them. Not so much my Uncle Carl. I think he was out of line, kind of trying to blame my grandpa. But he's in Texas, so, and he's still working. He's a lot younger. He was, I guess, the mistake. But, with my Aunt Donna, it's just super frustrating that she does live so close, and she hasn't been to see her. And, it's always, well, Jimmy, that's what they call my grandpa. Well, Jimmy can take care of it, or Jimmy can do this. And then when something doesn't go the way they want it to, they just call and blame him. And it's just hard to see my grandpa. So, ever since my great-grandpa passed away, my grandpa has been taking care of my great-grandma. And you would think, with your parents, you would try to break that up, even if they are living in different states. But, they haven't helped with anything. And it's just super, super frustrating to think that my grandpa has to kind of do this all alone. He has my grandma, but I also feel like if this was happening to my parents, I would want my brother there to help me and support me and have that extra. So I'm very frustrated with the fact that all of this is happening, and I know that it has to be really hard on my grandpa, and I'm, again, 3 hours away, finishing up finals and working. And
so it sounds like you just kind of want to be there for your grandpa and be there for your great grandma and everything. And I understand right now you're going through finals, and it sounds like you have a lot on your plate, but it sounds like you're managing pretty well. You have a lot going for you, and it's been, even though there's been some bumps on the road, I feel like you show some strengths. You show that you're strong. Even though you're telling me about your great grandma, you're doing it in a very positive manner, even though you have frustrations. I think that's great.
Yeah, I have a pretty good support system, and like I said, it's not that she's young. I'm not losing my mom. I'm not losing even my grandparents. And it would be different if she didn't have Alzheimer's and she was there to understand everything. But she's been gone for a couple years now, and I don't know, I I was upset last night, and I was talking to my boyfriend, and he told me, like, at least she's lived a really long life, and I think that that's just going to bring everybody closure. The fact that, hopefully when she does go, she's sleeping. That's one of my hopes.
So you said you have like a very strong support system. Who's been there with you through this process? I know you mentioned your boyfriend, but do you have other family members who have been helping?
My mom is my biggest support system, I'd say, out of everybody in my life. But it's hard because she's 3 hours away, so I lean on my roommates a lot. They help me through pretty much everything, even if it's just sitting watching a Christmas movie. They help me a lot. So I'd say through this, it's been my roommates and my mom a little bit, but I also don't want to talk to her about it too much because that's her actual grandma. I mean, she's my grandma too, but I mean, she has many, many more memories with me or with her than I do. So I don't know. I just want to make sure everybody's okay and just handle it, I guess.
I can see just through us talking now that you have a very big personality of caring and you love to make sure that everybody else is okay. But I just want you to remember that it is important to make sure you're okay too. And I'm happy that you came here today to talk to me about it because I know it's not an easy topic. Do you have any other concerns that you would like to talk to me about, or?
I don't know. It's just super stressful with finals, and I'm a lifeguard supervisor, and that's a lot of responsibility. And last week we just had to fire a guard basically, so that's been really hard to deal with over the week.
So how what happened in that situation?
So like I said, I'm a supervisor, and he was late to work. He's a repeat. This has happened many times. He failed the test that we put in the pool for him. He didn't see it in time, and he did the wrong jump, and all lifeguard lingo. But basically, I asked him if I could show him something, and he started yelling at me and another supervisor, and just kind of becoming irate, and just saying that we didn't know what we were talking about, and just going on and on. And I mean, it was 45 minutes, and then he told me he's homeless. He told me that if he gets fired from this job, that it's going to be my fault. His kids don't have Christmas presents, and I think that's probably what upset me the most, because it's hard to hear. I knew he had kids. He's much older. He's probably in his 40s, and the rest of the staff is 25 and younger. But I'm sad to think that his kids won't have presents. And it's not even just the presents, just that they're in that predicament. I know they live with their mom, so they're not technically homeless. It's just...
You can see that that's kind of taking a toll on you. And, it's not easy hearing somebody say that to you, even though they aren't really doing their job correctly.
Yeah, and I think that if it was another job, I mean, lifeguarding is, we work at the natatorium on campus, so I've been actually at the job, clocked in, there have been 4 911 calls. So it's not that we don't get that, and I don't think that he would be able to save somebody. And I know that as a supervisor and another lifeguard and a concerned citizen, that if I don't feel that they're capable of saving somebody and they repeatedly shown that they're not capable, I can't feel bad for it, because ultimately if something happens to him or any of the other lifeguards or the patron, 1, the patron's hurt, and 2, that falls back on me as a supervisor. So I just keep trying to remind myself that he can get another job, one where he doesn't have to worry about saving somebody, and hopefully it'll be within the IU network, so he can still get paid. I think $10.25 is the rate.
So I know, being a lifeguard is a very important job, and you've mentioned that to me. Do you feel like that's taking a toll on you personally? I know, obviously, you've had some, employees who have given you trouble, like the story you just told me, but it just seems like it brings a lot of stress to you. just like in